In this video, I will solve 2018 May College Board SAT test. So let's dive into the problems. First section, no calculator section. So this equation and diagram, you can use it in the real test. So you can use this one as a reference. So let's do that. Number one. Lardarius spent a total of $200 to lease snowboard equipment at Winter Mountain during his vacation. Each day of the vacation, he purchased a lift ticket for $44. Lardarius purchased lift tickets. So how much money did Lardarius spend during his vacation at Winter Mountain on snowboard equipment and lift ticket? So this word problem is from Algebra 1. So they checking, how to set up based on the description. So this total cost, for the equipment is 200 itself, plus $44 each number of tickets, so times T. So that shows C. Number 2. This one is collected items. So when you distribute this one, 3q squared plus r cubed plus 5r minus 8q plus 2q squared plus 2r. Now, if you look at the answer choices, it looks like a r cubed in the beginning. So I'm going to write this one first. Next, q squared. So I see that here and this one, those are like terms. So 5q squared. And q term is right here alone. So minus 8q. And then last one, r term, which is a 7r. So answer has to be D. Okay, that's collect like terms. Now let's move on to number 3. Which of the following equation represent the line in xy plane that passed through 0,3 that shows this is a y-intercept since x coordinate is 0 and has a slope of -3. So if you look at the answer choices, this one is slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So they give you slope, this one -3, and y-intercept is 3. So y equals -3x plus 3. The answer has to be B. Now let's move on to number 4. So this one is we call identical equation. So this type of question, it comes out very often in the SAT. So, but this is how you're gonna do. So you distribute 2 first. So 2x plus 2b is going to be equal to ax plus c. Now, so identical equation means all the variable term should be same as the other side variable term. And this one is a constant, so they should be also identical. So, but they ask you only c value. What is a c equal to in terms of a or b? So if you look at the constant term, c equals 2b. That's it. So should it be D's answer? If they ask you what is a value you can find that out. So a value is right here. So that's a equals 2. But in this question, they didn't ask. So just like c value is a 2b. Now, number 5. Which of the following is equivalent to that expression? So this on FOIL, you have to FOIL it out. So then let's quickly go over how you're going to FOIL a plus b squared. That's a squared plus 2 times ab plus b squared. Another equation I want you to remember, a minus b squared. So when you FOIL this one out, a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. So we can this one simply prove by FOILing out. So a times a is a squared, a times negative b minus ab, and negative b times a is minus ab again, and negative b times negative b is plus b squared. So when you collect like terms, that would be a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. So similarly, you can also prove this one. So it's good to memorize these two formulas. Then you can save a lot of time. So come back to the problem. So 2x plus 4 squared. So this term is like a. This one is like b. So if you use that first formula, a squared, so 2x squared, it'll be, 2x squared, so 2x times 2x, 4x squared, plus 2 times ab. So 2 times 2x times 4, which is 16x, plus b squared, so 4 squared should be 16. Now, that was a first portion of that expression, and then that minus 4x squared, so it cancels out. So that leaves 16x plus 16. Now, if you look at the answer choices, they factor it. So when you factor out 6, x plus 1, so answer has to be A. Now, let's move on to number 6. Line L is shown in the xy plane above, and which of the following equation line L? They give you standard form. Standard form of the equation is ax plus by equals c. But you can easily tell slope and y-intercept from the graph. So I'm going to use a slope-intercept form. Intercept is 3 here, and slope is rise over run. So that means negative 1 over 2. Your slope is negative 1 over 2. So if you set up using slope-intercept form, y equals negative 1/2 x plus b, so plus 3. So now I need to change this one into standard form. So you multiply 2 both sides. So then 2y equals negative x plus 6. Now you add x both sides. So x plus 2y equals 6. Then answer should be A. Okay, so make it mx plus b format and just transform that one to standard form. That'll be easier. Now, next questions. For the function f, the table above shows the sum values of x and their corresponding y value in terms of a, b, c. So if c is greater than b, b is greater than a, like that, and then which of the following could not be the graph? So if you analyze the data first, x value they give you 1, 2, 3. So let's label 1, 2, 3 here. And then your y value, corresponding y value, a, b, c, as you see in the table. But the increase, it'll increase. I don't know, is it linearly increase or exponentially increase? I don't know. But what I do know is A, B, C. Since A is less than B, B is less than C. So important thing about this graph is in quadrant 1. In quadrant 1, your graph should increase. So if you look at this one increase, this one also increase, and this one also increase, but not this one. So B cannot be the graph. So answer has to be B. Okay, just a little sketch first based on the information given, and then you can eliminate answer choices. Now, number 8. 3x minus 6y equals 9z, and then which of the following expressions is equivalent to x squared minus 4xy plus 4y squared. So first step, I would reduce this one first by 3. So x minus 2y equals 3z. And then this expression, I see that when I factor out x minus 2y, you can factor like that. And then replace that one. X minus 2y, we found that that's 3z. So that's going to be equal to 3z times 3z. So which is a 9z squared. So answer has to be C. Okay? So manipulate and then replace it. Now number 9, which of the following is a solution to the equation? So you can do 2 ways. Basically 3 ways you can solve quadratic equation. If it's a factorable, that is the fastest one, but in this case, it's not factorable. Then you have 2 options. First method is using quadratic formula, which is x equals negative b plus minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So let's label this one method 1. Then a is 1, b is a negative 4, c is a 2. So when you substitute, so x is going to be equal to negative b means 4 plus minus square root b squared. So negative 4 squared, 16, positive 16, minus 4 times a is 1, c is 2, all over 2a, so 2. So if you simplify, 4 plus minus square root, 16 minus 8 is 8. And then root 8 is, you can reduce to 2 root 2. So 4 plus minus 2 root 2 over 2. For some people who don't understand why that 2 root 2, you can do this way. 4 times 2, factoring 3, and this one 2 times 2. So as long as you have same thing twice, then you can take it out. So 2 square root 2. Now you can reduce by 2, top and bottom. So 2 plus minus root 2. So that's the answer. And then if you look at the answer choices, C will be your answer. Or another way of doing it, you can complete the square. So let's do that. Method 2. So x squared minus 4x plus, always you put it this one, b over 2 squared. We call that one magic number. That you put it here. And then negative 2, you move it to the other side. Negative 2 was originally was on the left-hand side, but now when you move to right-hand side, it'll be negative 2. Now, b over 2 squared, so b is a negative 4 over 2 squared, so which is a negative 2 squared 4. So you add 4 to the left-hand side, and then you have to add the same amount on the other side. Don't forget. So when you add the 4 to the other side, it's like that. So now you factor on the left-hand side. So x always half of the b. So minus 2 squared equals, on the right-hand side, negative 2 plus 4 will be 2. To solve for x, I complete the square. From there, to solve for x, you put square root both sides. Then they will give you x minus 2 equals plus minus root 2. And then when you add the 2 both sides, so x equals 2 plus minus root 2. So I end up with the same answer. This one, same answer. So only answer you have in the answer choices, 2 plus root 2. So answer should be C. Okay? So you have basically 3 method, but in this problem, it's not factorable. So you can either use quadratic formula or complete the square. Now, number 10, the function above can be used to estimate the number of farms in millions in the United States. N is greater than or equal to 0, less than or equal to 72. And N is the number of years after 1940. So N is number of years after 1940. Which of the following is the best interpretation of the 5.77 in this context? So they ask you, what is the meaning of this? So that only that number, if you think about n equals 0, so when you substitute n equals 0, so 0.98 to the 0 power, anything 0 power is 1. So 1 times 5.77 is 5.77. So what is n equals 0 means? That means on the year 1940. So that's stand for 5.77 million in million number of farms in 1940. So if you look at the answer choices, should be A. That is estimated number of farms in millions in 1940. Okay. Now let's move on. Number 11. You have a two system of equation. So when you graph, the graph of the equation intersect at x and y. So that's in quadrant 1, they have an intersect. Now, what is the y coordinate of the intersection? So to find the intersection coordinate, you set equal to each other. X squared equal to 2x plus 3. So you make it one side 0. X squared minus 2x minus 3 equals 0. So this one factorable. So x minus 3, x plus 1 equals 0. So that gives me x equals 3 or x equals negative 1. But x equals negative 1 is not our interest. Its condition is x is greater than 0. So x is equal to 3. But don't pick this one. They ask you y coordinate. So you can use either this or this to find the y coordinate. So I'm going to use first one. So y equals 3 squared is 9. So answer should be D. Okay. So intersection, make sure you put equal to each other and then watch out for the condition. Number 12, which of the following is a solution of the equation? So this is again quadratic equation. So you can either factor or use a quadratic formula or complete the square. So let's see if factorable or not. So 2x, and this one 3, 1. And then to make it 4x, this one should be plus and this one minus. Then you see that when you void it out, that's a negative 2x and outside 6x. So when you add 6x plus negative 2x, it will be 4x. So it is a factorable. Then z equals 0 and each one equals 0. So 2x minus 1 equals 0. So from there, 2x equals 1, x is 1/2. Or you can say 0.5, but 0.5 is not the option. So probably like the other one. 2x plus 3 equals 0. And then 2x equals to negative 3. So x is negative 3/2, or you can say negative 1.5. So should it be A? A is the answer. So if it's a factorable, go ahead factor. That will be a lot easier and faster. Now let's move on to number 13. The equation P equals 14.7 plus 0.439D approximates the pressure P in pounds per square inch exerted on the diver at the depth of the d feet below the surface of the water. What is the increase in depth that is necessary to increase the pressure by 1 pound per square inches? So this type of question, they oftentimes they ask in the SAT. So what I recommend, you make a quick table. So make a P value and D value. So what are you looking for? This one increase in depth when increase 1 pound per square inches per pressure. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make it D equals 0 first. why I don't want to compute this one times 2, things like that. So I make it 0 down first. That gives me p-value 14.7. That's my initial value. Now, next one, increase p-value. P is, remember, pressure. 1 pound per square inch, you increase. So my next value, if you add 1, which is a 15.7. And then what is this value? So I'm going to put that value into the equation. So 15.7 equals 14.7 plus 0.439t. Now, when you subtract 14.7 both sides, it'll be 1 and 0.439t. So when you divide by 0.439 both sides, t will be 1 over 0.439. So this one, this problem is in the no calculator section. So that's why answer choice is like this. So you're not supposed to use a calculator. So d value is this one. So that much increased. So answer has to be A. So my suggestion for this type of questions, make a quick table, and then you can pick any other number, like d equals 1, but you might need to calculate more than I did. So maybe just easy one is just start from 0 and follow how much the other variable increased. Then you can find out how much increased the variable you're looking for. Okay, so that's the quickest way. Now let's move on to number 14. They ask you what is the value of 4x. So when you add the top one, 4 times the 4x is a 16x over 4 equals a 4. When you reduce by 4, it's a 4x equals 4. And then, some people, they look for x and then they pick 1, but you have to read it carefully. They ask you 4x itself, so answer should be B. So don't get trapped. They didn't ask you x value, they ask you for x value. Number 15, in the xy plane, they give you 2 points. Those are end point of the diameter. So if you think about it, there's a circle, and then they gave you 2 points like this, right? So center is a midpoint basically, right? Because that's the end point of the diameter. So your center is, if you think about midpoint formula, x1 plus x2 over 2, y1 plus y2 over 2. That's a midpoint formula. I want you to remember that. And also another formula you need to know in these questions, circle equation. Circle equation, let's say center is h and k and radius is r. Then equation of circle will be x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So that's the circle equation. It comes out in SAT very often. So memorize that formula. And then another formula you need to know. It will be very helpful if you remember distance formula. So if you have a 2 point, A x1 y1, B x2 y2, then distance will be square root of x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square. I'm going to use this formula to find the radius of this circle. So let's find out center first using midpoint formula. So 2 plus negative 2 over 2, comma, 4 plus negative 4 over 2. So my center, 2 plus negative 2 is a 0. 0 over 2 is a 0. And 4 plus negative 4, also 0. 0 over 2, also 0. So my center 0, 0. So it's not this format. It should be x squared plus y squared. Now I need to figure out then what is radius. So using distance formula. So I'm going to use 0, 0 and here 2 comma 4. So my radius using distance formula 2 minus 0 square plus 4 minus 0 square, which is 4 plus 4 squared is 16, so root 20. You don't need to simplify that because in here they you need to put r square. So r square is 20. So answer has to be C. Okay, you substitute r square. So x squared plus y squared equals 20. Now let's move into gradient section. So this one you need to bubble and also you put answer on top of that. Number 16. In the xy plane, line K passed through the 3,1 and parallel to that one. So parallel means you have a same slope. So y equals 5 over 2x plus b. Now this problem gave you another information. It passed through 3,1. So you can plug in this xy value to find out y-intercept. So 1 equals 5 half times 3 plus b. So 1 equals 15 over 2 plus b. So b is 1 is 2 over 2. So negative 13 over 2. Oh, I just realized that they ask you just a slope. So answer has to be 5 over 2. Okay. So I found out the entire equation, but you don't need to. They ask you just a slope. So answer should be 5 over 2. Now, number 17, if the older pair satisfy the equation of the system of the equations above, what is the value of x? So this one, they ask you about the x value of the intersection. So simply you just plug it in here. So 2x plus 3 times 2x equals 4. And then 2x plus 6x is 8x equals 4. So x is 1/2. Then you're done. They ask you just x value. Okay, just set equal. You can substitute in this type. Sometimes you use linear combination method, which is you eliminate one of the variable, but in this case you substitute, and then you can find out the unknown. Now let's move on to number 18. What is a x value? Okay, let's cross multiply. X minus 9 equals negative 1 times x minus 8 when you cross multiply. So x minus 8 equals negative x plus 8, and collect like terms. You add x both sides. So 2x minus 9 equals 8. Cancels out, right hand side. Now you add 9 both sides. So 2x equals 17. So x is 17 over 2. That's your answer. And that is in the domain. So make sure, what if you somehow end up with your x value end up with 8 or 9? Then you have to say no solution. Okay? But in this case, 17 over 2 is in the domain. So that should be your final answer. Two acute angles of right triangle. So let's draw right triangle here. Two acute angle means like here, like that. And they give you sine x is a 5 over 13. So if you remember, so katoa, so means sine. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Ka means cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Toa means tangent is opposite over adjacent. So I'm going to use a sine. So sine of this angle right here. So opposite 5/13. And then in the beginning of this test, they, as I said earlier, there's a triples, Pythagorean triples. They give it to you. But this one is it's not there. Only there on 30, 60, 90 and 45, 45, 90. But this one you don't have to remember the angle, but I want you to remember those additional triples for Pythagorean triangles. So 5, 12, 13, and 7, 24, 25, 8, 15, 17. So, I mean, of course, there's a 3, 4, 5. So if you memorized those additionally, then that will be very helpful. You can save a lot of time. So 5, 12, 13 here. So sine, using that sine 5/13, I can find out every side there. Now, question is, what is the cosine of y? Cosine of y, cosine is a ka. So adjacent over hypotenuse. Okay, one more time. Cosine y is adjacent over hypotenuse of this angle. So answer is the same as sine x. So cosine y is just 5/13, which makes sense. We call that one is a cofunction. Cofunction. So as long as x and y, they add up to 90 degrees. So example, let's say sine 20 degrees, right? So sine 20, no, I have to use a calculator for that. So I'm gonna use just like, let's say sine like theta, right? So let's use a sine x. Sine x, then that is a 5/13. So cosine 90 minus x, right? The angle add up to 90, x and 90 minus x add up to 90. That should be also same value, 5/13. But 90 minus 30, in this case, that is y. So cosine y should be 5/13. So if you remember the cofunction relation, then you can answer quickly. So like in other words, sine 20 must be same as cosine 70. Like cosine 15 degrees must be same as sine 75. As long as their angle add up to 90, their sine cosine value, they should be equal. We call cofunction. Okay, so let's move on. Number 20. So these are complex numbers. So you fold it out left hand side and then you compare real term to real term and imaginary term to imaginary term. That's how you're gonna compare. So when you fold it out, 15 times 6 is 90. And then outside minus 45i, inside minus 24i, and last term negative 4i times negative 3i is plus 24. Plus 12i squared, but I squared is a negative 1, so minus 12. So that's going to be equal to a plus bi. So when you collect items, this one to this one here, which is a 78 minus 69i. So that's going to be equal to a plus bi. So they ask you only a value. So a has to be 78. That's your final answer. Okay, so we are done in the no calculator section. So I'm gonna stop my video for this one, and then I'm gonna post another video for the calculator section next.